Asteroid impacts cause volcanoes to erupt on the opposite side of the planet. It is mentioned in history that almost 251.9 million years ago, a truly devastating cataclysm was experienced by Earth. As a result of the occurrence of this cataclysm, there was the worst recorded mass extinction of different species, and this was the most tragic thing that ever occurred on this planet. As a result of this cataclysm, there was a loss of almost 96% of all the marine species, and there was also a loss of almost 70% of terrestrial species. I'm sure you might have heard about the Permian-Triassic extinction event, which was caused by the voluminous eruptions in the Siberian Traps flood basalts. During a little time, there were many fissures and shielded volcanoes that led to the ejection of almost 4 million cubic kilometers of lava, and it did that on the surface. As a result of this ejection of lava, a land area equal to the size of Australia was buried in almost 3,500 meters, or almost 11,500 feet thick material of lava. If you're interested to know more about the asteroid impacts and volcanic eruptions on the opposite side of the planet, then this video is for you. Watch the video to the end to get all the detailed information. But before getting started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give the video a thumbs up. Let's get going. As a result of all this volcanism, large and excessive amounts of carbon dioxide were ejected into the atmosphere, which led to the increase in the concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere from 500 to 800 parts per million. As a result of this happening, many large sections of the oceans in the world became acidic. The oceans were at a complete loss of oxygen, and as a result of this, many sea life or marine life species were killed. But you need to know that there is something very unusual about this specific flood basalt, because this was one of the planet's largest to have an eruption activity. As we know that since the formation of the flood basalt, the tectonic plates have undergone movements. But after this, we can still find a very unusual feature, the direct opposite of this place on the planet Earth. And this thing is known as the antipode. In the region of Antarctica, there is an existence of probably 480-kilometer wide impact structures below the surface of the ice. There is no doubt that this suspected impact crater has not been dated till now, so we are not aware of the fact that since what time it is located in this place. The placement of these structures has somehow indicated that making or the formation of burial traps. But keep in mind that this hypothesis is pretty controversial. For decades, we have all been aware of the fact that massive impact events can give rise to any kind of volcanic activity on the opposite facet of a planet. For instance, almost 3.9 billion years ago, there was a massive asteroid that impacted Mercury. And as a result of this, there was the formation of an almost 1,600-kilometer wide impact crater. In the region that we call the antipode of this specific basin, there was a very large area that had faced and undergone a dramatic uplift. This dramatic uplift was primarily associated with large-scale volcanic activity in this particular region. Why does this mechanism occur? What is the main reason or force behind this phenomenon? All this information and this detail are still not known. But it seems that a very large comet, meteor, or asteroid impact plays a major role in triggering the formation of this hotspot. In other words, they trigger the onset of volcanic activity. The volcanic activity is thus triggered at the closest or nearest hotspot on the extreme opposite side of any planet. There is another apparent coincidence that needs to be mentioned over here. It exists with the large and massive Chicxulub impact crater, which is present on the very famous Yucatan Peninsula. This one is said to be formed almost 66 million years ago, and it resulted in a great extinction of the non-avian dinosaurs that existed in that period. Well, when it comes to the crater, you can state that this one is not strictly antipodal to a flood basalt, and it just happened to be in the Indian region. But you need to know that scientists think that it seemingly leads to an increase in the volcanic activity, along with implementing change and variation at the highly active Deccan traps. Studies and researchers suggest that within the time 100,000 years after this impact, an intensive and strong flare-up was induced or produced in these Deccan traps. As a result of this happening, more than 400,000 square kilometers of the area were trapped or covered in molten rock. You might be thinking, why does this all occur? Well, there is one possible answer as to why this thing occurred, and it just relates to a clear link between large earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. As we know that a great majority of volcanic eruption is not generally linked to the occurrence of an earthquake, and there is a proper and significant increase in the volcanic activity within the region of 800 kilometers of a magnitude, or an earthquake of a much larger magnitude for the upcoming 5 years in the future. Considering this thing, the Chicxulub impact led to an equivalent of a magnitude 9 earthquake, and this almost reached everywhere on this planet. Now, as a result of this great earthquake, the Deccan trips were reignited. These almost had a great volume of the material that lies beneath them. Due to this, there were some volcanic eruptions at the submarine volcanoes and also the mid-ocean ridges, and also the stratovolcanoes around various parts of the world. We know that earthquakes trigger the volcanic eruptions, so one possible and direct reason behind this can be that if a large fault plane moves, it can lead to the mixing of magma in the region. And now we come to know in this video that this is the reason that caused the 1875 Plinian eruption of the Askja on the island. Here, basalt is mixed with a comparatively large rhyolite magma chamber. This is sure that the asteroid was the main indirect cause behind the end Cretaceous extinction event, but volcanism was also associated with this major impact, and it did play a critical role in the overall extinction. If we say or consider that this theory is true, then there are many other large hotspots from the planets along with their specific flood basalt provinces which may have formed due to some impact events from some kilometer-wide comets or asteroids. This was all for today's video about asteroid impacts causing volcanoes to erupt on the opposite side of the planet. Hope you liked it. If you want us to make a video on a specific topic, then mention it in the comments section below. Don't forget to ring the notification bell for more updates. Thanks for watching.